The pen moved rapidly along the document, leaking ink as it went. The small group of men sat in the train car in solemnity, not yet recognizing the weight of their actions. In 5 hours' time, the armistice would take effect, and the bloodiest conflict known to man, thus far, would end. The United States military suffered the fewest deaths of any Allied nation during World War I, more than 80,000 lives lost. Those 80,000 men, brave men, are revered today, with their names immortalized on monuments throughout the nation and around the globe. They fought an unpopular, brutal war, a continent and an ocean away, for no overt reason beyond the fact that morally, it was right. The men were born in small towns and big cities across the nation. They had typical American childhoods, full of neighborhood baseball games, corner stores, and long days in schoolrooms. Their ancestors were immigrants, they went to Sunday church services, and they admired the nation that welcomed them. These men were men like Charles Ysebarte. He was born in the town of Medford, Massachusetts, to parents that emigrated from Belgium to the United States. Though details on his life remain scarce, he likely led a life typical of one of these early 20th century Americans, until the war came. Though public opinion was against the war, he responded to the call to service. Drafted in 1917 at age 18, Ysebarte served in the 26th Infantry Division of the United States Army, also known as the Yankee Division. This division of the American Expeditionary Force was comprised of men from around New England, hence the nickname. Ysebarte fought in the harsh conditions of the fields of France. He likely was an infantryman, given his rank as a private, meaning he participated in the horrendous trench warfare for which World War I is infamous. Like most of the American soldiers who served in this conflict, he was an expendable cog in the war machine, another statistic yet to be determined. Ultimately, at the age of 20, his statistic became another soldier listed as DWRIA, died of wounds received in action. Whether Ysebarte was hit by an artillery shell, a bullet, or shrapnel, we will never know. But what we do know is that the bravery of men like Ysebarte will never be fully honored, because the sacrifices made were so great. Today, we are gathered to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the repatriation of the remains of 5,169 of these men as they were honored by their Commander-in-Chief, President Harding. There are few wars that the United States military ever has fought which were truly existential. This nation's leaders have a tendency to portray every war we enter as a struggle for the freedom and existence of our nation, but this is not always the case. World War I was one of those few wars in this country's history where the United States' entry into the clash was justified for the preservation of the freedom and prosperity of this nation. Harding put it most eloquently when he said,
"These heroes were sacrificed in the supreme conflict of all human history. They saw democracy challenged and defended it. They saw civilization threatened and rescued it. They saw America affronted and resented it. They saw our nation's rights imperiled and stamped those rights with a new sanctity and renewed security."
We owe the continued success of the United States to the valiant efforts of these men more than a century ago.